Okay.
And then what I'm just going to do is just for our policy, we just get a copy of your driver's license, say who is requesting it.
Okay, that actually under NYMARC is illegal.
One thing we can always count on is that when given the opportunity, the government will always behave badly when it comes to the public right to know. And this is a records request that I made for some body cams from the Los Gatos police.
So the city was already sued for requesting requesting driver's license to identify public records requests. So the case is NYMARC. Your city attorney would know it. It's a published decision. It was done by James McManus. I have all the records from the city of San Jose. So what it said was requesting records is a First Amendment protected right, and you have a right to do it without the police putting further barriers on the First Amendment right.
Sure.
So that means you guys aren't allowed to ask for identification.
4 years ago, we walked into the Los Gatos Police Department to ask for some records, and the reception wasn't exactly what we would have hoped for. And we've experienced some retaliation since then, but we also notice that they're making an effort to make sure that they respond to our public records requests. And we hope that they will be doing it not just for us when our cameras are on, but for everybody else as well.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm working with a group of people that either A, have been arrested and are concerned about due process, or B, more importantly, people who are victims of crimes and can't get their police reports, their body cams, they don't record the police when they give a statement, and it's causing a lot of anxiety. And so I'm trying to describe, first of all, we understand that the police have the discretion to release body cams or not.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to request them under this group's name because we want to see if they can do that. So a man has killed his wife, is currently in jail. They were married. There was no family court involved. And so we want to watch how the police did an investigation of this. We understand there should be victims' things redacted for privacy purposes, but how police investigate these issues. It's part of an educational series that we're doing. These women are then watching in court to see how the proceedings are going, and some of them are advocates. So they advocate for the people at court, and they go to court when the women or whoever, men, are too fearful to go to court, because it's terrifying to go to court for a lot of people, even to watch a proceeding for somebody else. So while most of these proceedings are now being recorded, they're only on the phone. And so it's hard for people to envision, and the courts don't allow recording in courtrooms without a media request. And so they're having a hard time understanding the process. And I'm a journalist, and I'm trying to teach them how to do the process.
There are several states throughout the country that allow recording in courtrooms and of the remote proceedings that are being broadcasted in the public domain. California is not one of them. In Michigan, I like to watch this Judge Middleton because he broadcasts all of his court proceedings over YouTube on a live stream, and you can go back and watch them later on. You can watch criminal cases, civil harassment cases, unlawful detainers, and even some family law cases that happen into his courtroom. He's usually very patient with people who have to represent themselves, but this isn't something that you would typically see in California. In California, you have to make a media request in order to even broadcast the proceedings that are being broadcast into the public domain via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. A judge is supposed to consider several factors in granting or denying the request. The clerk is supposed to file the request in the case in which the request is made. But we find, especially in California and Santa Clara County in particular, rarely are judges and court staffers following the law when it comes to media requests. And we know for certain, based on how many of our media requests are denied, that the judges in California aren't as good about transparency and accountability as they are in Michigan.
And so the first process we're doing is we're looking at how police officers investigate crimes.
Okay.
Because if they don't do it right, an innocent person is going to go to jail or a guilty person is going to get off. And so these people are watching the process. We're trying to train them how to do it. We're training them what police officers are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, and so that they get more comfortable. So one of the first things is, and everyone, I know the case law says you're not allowed to ask for our ID, and that's NAMARC. And second of all, these women are fearful. They don't want to be identified. If they have the courage to come into the police department, they may be wearing masks. They may be somehow, upset otherwise. And so we don't want them to feel, we already know they're being recorded. I'm being recorded right there on that camera, and I'm going to want a copy of that camera to show them what police can see of them. but you're not allowed to ask for their ID. So if they're using this box so that they can all do things without fear of retaliation. And so right now, I just want to say, I'm putting on the record, they should not be being asked for their ID. So if that's an informal policy that the police department has, or just something you thought you should do, I just want to make sure that we put that on the record, that shouldn't be being done. Every police department should know that you should be able to ask for records without being identified, because people are too afraid to do that.
That's fine, if you don't want to give us your ID.
But I'm trying to train, you guys shouldn't even be asking. Because if a victim walks in here and wants the body cams and they're already fearful enough to walk in, they shouldn't be fearful that you're gonna ID them. And not everyone has the training I have to know they don't have to identify. And so they just need to give an email. They don't even have to give a formal address. They can give an email of where they want the records delivered.
The thing is, if you don't want to fill out the form, then we can go ahead and we can write it down.
Right, and so, and I'm trying to tell them the
We just wanna
different.
make sure
Right.
that we're going to give you the records you're requesting.
That's right, and that's good. And I'm trying to tell her, I'm trying to train a whole group of women that are court watching, because, and I'll tell you, part of the reason of this is the lawyers always say, oh, these people come in and, they're just there to say, oh, we didn't get our way, and then cause all kinds of noise. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to be educated. They're forming a formal certified court watching program. And in order to do that, they have to understand the law, and they also have to understand the informal policies around it. So just because we know we don't have to identify doesn't mean somebody's not going to ask them. And I'm just trying to educate you guys that when you do that when a victim is trying to get things and they're already worried about retaliation, that's a problem.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
Okay.
Did you want to make your request?
So yeah, why don't we do it verbally? I want to do it verbally so they can see how I do
I'm
it.
going to get a piece of paper and a pencil.
Okay,
We can write
perfect.
it down.
Certainly, we know that it's never comfortable to be recorded when you're doing your job. It makes us feel a little uncomfortable and a little insecure. But these two women at the Los Gatos Police Department this day helped me with my records, dealt with my questions, and understood the policies that were improper and communicated it, because we got our records.
I want them to see what they can do. Can I take a picture of that?
Okay, you want me to hold it up?
Yeah, I'm just going to go right down the form so they can see.
The government is never allowed to put various obstructions and barriers to the First Amendment. We're entitled to our records, and if you want to fill out a form, you can, but you don't need to. You don't need to give your identification, and if you want to make your records requests verbally, you're allowed to do that as well. And they are required to help you in getting the records that may be responsive to your request.
All the people are telling me they were going to these organizations before that happened, and they're being referred divorce attorneys from that organization. And so we're following the divorce attorney cases too. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I know that was probably not your normal morning call, but you guys were great. And
right.
so this is going to be used for training all these women who are trying to do this, because I'm too busy and I don't have time to do it all. Okay, thank you.
All right. You have a
Bye-bye.
great day.